Good morning and welcome to the Vision Alignment Show, where we talk about having your vision aligned with your core beliefs, your core values, and your core strengths. That is a huge importance for us all to have the ability to have our vision aligned that way. So we talk about vision, we talk about purpose. All those things are kind of roll into one. But that's really your preferred state, your preferred future. So having that set, having that goal out there, and having something inside of you that's totally discontinued or discombobulated or incontiguous, another new word I made up today. But having that separate from you and your vision doesn't make any sense. But I'll tell you, somebody that has a great vision and has a great idea of their own core beliefs and core values is our guest today. And our guest is none other than Mr. Pat Dwyer. Pat, come on.
Hello, friends. How are you? What's going on?
Oh, we're great. How are you?
Oh, I'm very much awake.
That is good to hear. So, Pat, tell me some stories, and no, don't tell me some stories yet. But I know you can tell stories. But tell me, when is your first recollection of knowing your vision?
Honestly, let's talk about the most recent version of my vision, because that was just a couple months ago, and we can talk about that a little bit because life is changing, things are changing all the time.
Constantly.
All the time, my friends.
Yeah.
It's literally just a couple months ago. Just a couple months ago, I changed everything and redefined my life and reminded myself who I was and reminded myself what the vision was originally and why I wanted to go back to it.
Awesome. Awesome. If you want to hear more, stay right there. Pat, you're back.
I'm back. I made it.
Nice. I'm so glad. We're so glad.
Oh, we are. We're equally as glad, I'm sure.
Tell me.
Yes,
Tell me about 3 months. What happened 3 months ago?
Oh gosh, what did happen 3 months ago? Okay, so I don't know if I don't want to date this. Has everybody heard of COVID? Okay, great. So COVID happened, and my wife and I decided to sell everything we owned, and we got we bought an RV. And we took our 2 kids and we got in the RV and we took off. And I'm a professional speaker and comedian and things of the sort. And I originally had a bunch of things lined up that all disappeared because COVID, and all of my gigs got, slowly dwindled to nothingness. And I found myself on the road, and it turned into a hiatus, which turned into the most cathartic time of my life. And the long and short of it is that I think that the world of professional speakers, there's a lot of us that are thought leaders. But a self-proclaimed thought leader is nothing more than somebody going like, "I'm important," as far as I can tell. So, and I'm not. And I think like there's a part of me that got into wanting to make an influence, wanting to be important, and like I'm not that guy. And
You're
so
not a guy?
no, if you make that of me, that's on you. Like it's like if you go to the Art Institute in Chicago, right?
Mhm.
Nobody's standing by their painting going, "Hey guys, art. Hey guys, this is important, right? I do good things." Like that's not that people don't do that. So the viewer, the person who's watching, the person who needs something from it, they're going to take something from it, and that's their job. My job is to give them something that they might be able to take something from, but I in no time go, "Hey, I'm a cool dude."
So you provide the art for them to look at.
I think art might be too lofty. I paint a picture, they make it
Yeah.
art. Like
Yeah.
I was a professional improviser for many years, a professional sketch performer, sketch comedy, improv comedy for many years. And I think that the mistake made is that people think that, you walk into it wanting to make art, but the viewer makes that art. You don't make that art. That's not on you. That's not your responsibility. My responsibility is to make, Brian, listen, man, I'm not a functioning member of society. Like, I know that. We all know that. My job is to help functioning members of society function at a better level and a higher level because they can giggle and they can laugh and they can have a good time, so that they can process information in a better way.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I mean, I think, anyways, the point is, we went on the road. I was thinking about everything, and I realized that I was trying to be too important for my own britches, which is not. And I don't know if I was trying, but like somewhere in the middle, that was the mindset. And so here we find ourselves, and now I'm like taking a step back and making everything, my brand a little bit more fun, myself a little bit more fun. Doing what I did very, very well in Chicago, doing comedy.
yeah.
I live in a space. I live in chaotic good. Like that's where I live. Like that's my box. And bring a little bit more joy
Mm.
back into it instead of grandeur. Like nobody needs grandeur. Nobody needs it. It's
Yeah.
dumb.
I mean, we're all just people.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
we people.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah.
what is your brand?
What is my brand? Who knows? So I'll say this. My website is patdwyerwastaken.com.
Uh-huh.
And I think that pretty much sums up what my deal is. Patdwyer.com was taken. I actually just, one of my buddies, my birthday was a couple weeks ago, and my friend found it and bought it for me. It's
Really?
been somebody in Florida, some realtor in Florida owned it for years.
Huh.
And oh yeah, I asked him if he would give it to me. He did not respond. Uh, but now I've owned Pat Dwyer was taken for years. And
Yeah.
now that I have patdwyer.com, I'm talking about like maybe, you remember Jurassic Park, original
Yeah.
Jurassic Park
Mhm.
1? And there's that big programmer guy who like they try to get hack into the system and he's like, We're thinking about making that as a redirect to patdwyerwastaken.com. So that people have to sit through me shaking my finger at them in a really bad animated way. But I mean, my brand is, I mean, let's have fun. Life is way
Yeah.
too short. And I think, the last couple of years of our lives being tumultuous at best,
Mhm.
has really shown like
Mm.
how much little time we have, and how, you know, there's no need to, you know, treat the world so seriously all the time. It's
Right.
important, but not all
Yeah.
the time.
So how do you end up here?
Well, you called me and said, Pat,
Not that.
yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, you know what it is? I had kids. Yeah,
Mm.
I didn't have to have kids. I did have kids. My wife would leave me if I didn't have children. I had children who I love and adore, and they're wonderful. And here's the thing they don't tell you. You can't make money doing improv comedy. You
Mm.
can. It's real hard. And I did very well for myself, I think. I mean, I'm proud of the work that I did, and I'm proud of the life that I had in that period of my life. But it's not enough to support a family.
No.
So I, through the guidance of a couple friends who had made the transition, started jumping more towards corporate stuff. Which, I mean, I had done corporate things for other people and done corporate workshops and, what would be keynotes and things like that for other companies, but I had never done it on my own. And so when I say we, I mean me and my wife, who is way smarter than me. Well, we made that transition. We talked about it. We made that transition, and here we find ourselves a few years later, professionally acting like a dummy. Which I guess I was kind of professionally acting like a dummy before, but now it's kind of different level.
So, do you take your what you have from Second City or wherever you did this, the training, the improv training, and the improv stuff you did? How do you align yourself then with corporations?
Well, that's a great question. I think that improv is so applicable to life because it teaches you to accept the new and to just move forward with the new information that you have instead of dwindling on what could happen. Because in improv, for instance, if one of us goes, well, yeah, but wait, I wanted this other thing to happen, everything stops. And that's, I think, true about life as well. So from a corporate perspective, I will occasionally introduce improv concepts, and we occasionally do exercises that involve improv exercises that we've done in the past, or I've done in the past and have facilitated for years in the attempt of illustrating, what we're talking about. My program currently, or the series of programs that I have, are a mix of both, more or less improv, dependent upon what the goals are for that client, that specific client, and tailoring it for that specific client. But improv is life. Improv is talking to people. Improv is not planning for the next moment and just living life. There's a lot of weird zen to it. And I say weird in like the hokey sense, like we're all wearing tie-dye now and stuff. But Brian, you're gonna take an improv class, aren't you? Taking an improv
I
class?
am. I start on Monday.
Oh yeah, get it. Yeah. So Brian, let's be honest with your viewers. You and I have known each other before this, and we've been slowly working on you to get you into an improv class.
I know I need it. I know I need to get better at speaking. So the improv, I think, will help.
It's
I don't know how.
Well, you'll find out quickly. I mean, it's if nothing else, just listening is a key, crucial skill. And we say that and people immediately go like, oh, wait, like talking to my wife or talking to my significant other. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about hearing somebody beyond what you were ready to listen for. So if that is nonverbal communication, if that is verbal communication, if that is nonverbal and verbal communication all at the same time, I think there's a big mistake. And this is one thing that we talk about a lot in a lot of the sessions that I provide is people will automatically move on in their conversation or in their head as soon as they get the information that they were aiming for. And then they're ready, or they hear something they don't like. And so they're ready to move on to combat what they have to talk about. But in the process, they stop listening to the back half of that statement or that conversation or listening to that person. And if we could genuinely listen through an entire statement, it's going to set us up for more success in regards to how we talk to each other. So there's some of that. There's also me acting like a dummy and everybody giggling and having a good time and helping them figure out how to do that too. So that's fun.
I love that part.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's my favorite part.
Hey, real quick, while we're at a stopping point, people that are online, if you would put in a hashtag live, if you in your comments, and put in some comments, let us know some questions you have for me and Pat. So that would be great. If you're listening to this on replay, put in a hashtag replay. As always, if you would, you'll be entered into a drawing. If you put in a picture of you winking in your timeline, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn, put a picture of you winking in your timeline, and then put a hashtag of Brian with one eye and a hashtag of winking with Wagner. That would get you entered into this drawing for a free copy of my book, and I'm probably Pat's book too.
Sure. Yeah. When I have a book, you guys can have it. I'll just give it to you. I don't care. Yeah.
So yeah, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I could do a drawing too, I suppose.
Sure.
Yeah.
So where do all your corporate clients come from?
A lot of referral for me
Yeah.
currently. You gotta, it's a grind. It's sales and stuff like that. So, I mean, from a speaking perspective, sometimes you just gotta call people all the
Yeah.
time for days and weeks and months. And
Yeah.
then that turns into another thing. I mean, well, and then it's some random stuff too. For instance, I recently started providing I've done it for years in the improv and sketch communities of teaching a workshop that is about using improv for generating sketch. And so now I've started to do NSA, the National Speakers Association,
Yeah.
not the NSA, the ones that are listening to this conversation right now. So the NSA,
The ones that talk.
National Speakers Association. Yeah. um, I've started doing a program for them at a couple different NSAs talking about how to use improv for your speech and stage presence and remaining present with your audience and doing audience engagement and things like that. So all the skills that I've taken from 20 years on the stage, I'm using that to help other speakers, which is super fun. And I really love it. And one of my friends is in Toastmasters in Indiana. And I had met him through a speaker thing years ago. And he said, I've got our Toastmasters here. Would you do it here? I said, yeah, sure. Why not? That sounds great fun. I would love to. That'd be fun. We can all goof around. And he then sent me to some other Toastmaster and he said, apply to this Toastmaster district conference. I said, sure, why not? And I did. And they called me last night and said, what you applied for was a workshop, which we only do for Toastmasters people. And I said, oh, okay. Yeah, that doesn't say that anywhere on the form. So I'm sorry. I'm not in Toastmasters, so I don't know. And they said, but we really want to consider you as our keynote next year. Like, wait, what? Okay, great. That sounds fine. So now that's, it's a happenstance, right? I put something out in the world, something comes back. I'm a very, very, very staunch believer in, the conservation of energy. If you put something out, it's going to come back somehow. It might not be what you think it is. It might not be what you're seeing, but it is.
But if you don't put it out, there's no chance of it coming back.
There's nothing. There's nothing. Well, I mean, you can. It just is going to come back smaller. Because if you put a lot out, something's going to come back big. It might be something small in small pieces, but stuff's going to come back. Good thoughts beget good thoughts. So.
Yeah, you just gotta do the work.
Yeah, you sure do. As much as none of us want to, I'd rather just play video games all day, but that's never gonna
happen. So you do a lot. I'm impressed. I really want to ask the next question, but I want to know what do you have? What do you feel inside when you're in front of an audience, or when you get up with a group of corporate clients and you talk to them and they get some value from you? How does that energy that you expend and you get it back, how does it make you feel?
It's delightful. I am not
delightful.
It is.
Now, that's not a word I thought you'd use.
Oh, it's so delightful. It's cathartic and delightful and fantastic and wonderful. So years ago, when I was in college at the Ohio State University, I don't know if we've heard of it because you're in Columbus. So the Ohio State University. Yeah. I was at a place where I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I knew I had a major and I had a minor, and I was actually set up to go into the Peace Corps, and I was set up to go to Africa and into the Peace Corps.
Really?
Yeah, which happened after college. We can get back to that in a bit. But I was walking around campus and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I had spent some time in high school on stage, not a lot, a couple of years worth of we're doing plays now. I was like, okay, I guess we'll do plays. And had done theater when I was a kid, but I had gotten away from it quite a bit. And anyways, I was wandering through random buildings at Ohio State University trying to figure, and I was probably trespassing in all truth, but I found myself, I walked into a room that was dark and I was curious what it was. And I found myself on a stage, on a huge stage. And this sounds real hokey, but every frustration I had in being just in a place by myself, quiet, in a theater on a stage, everything disappeared. And I was calm. And
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, maybe this is a thing. I don't know. I guess we'll see." But I knew that calm was there, and I knew that comfort was there, which was very odd to find as on a random walk. And then after college, I kind of ignored the whole thing. I think I took a minor in theater just for the sake of having a minor in theater because I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I aced my minor. The
Hey,
major,
cool.
not so much, but the minor, definitely, I aced the heck out of it.
What was your major?
My major was political science
Oh,
because
cool.
the Peace Corps thing, and I did
Sure.
well. I'm not going to say I didn't, but it wasn't like the minor.
It wasn't what you wanted.
Well, yeah, it turns out, but
It wasn't who you were. You were not aligned with your vision. You were not aligned with your core strengths, your core values, all that stuff.
absolutely. But I mean, I don't think I could have. Based on where I came from and my upbringing, and the goals that I had to achieve for certain reasons, I don't think I could have known that without my journey that got me to where I am. And that's what I mean when I say, what's the first time I knew my vision? I don't know. That thing's always changing. Like every new impetus, every new input is another part of my math equation, right? So I'm always updating, I'm always changing, I'm always growing. And I hope to, reflect that onto the world around me, and hope that, others, I can encourage others to do the same thing,
Yeah.
and live in the moment, and just really be okay not knowing anything, because it's actually pretty fun once you just like breathe through everything. It's just like great.
Yeah.
Because I mean, with college, after when I went to the Peace Corps, and I was supposed to be there for 2 years, but I was only there for about 6 months.
Why?
I got dysentery 3 times in a row.
Oh,
I know, man. I lost 60 pounds in a month and a half, and I would like wake
oh,
up shaking and all sorts of craziness. And they were like, you're gonna die here. I was like, yeah, I thought so. So I was on the kind of like what we want to refer to as on the fast track to getting back in the Peace Corps, in a different country, preferably somewhere. My little New England body was not doing 130 degrees. I mean, it was not going to work.
where were you?
I was in Mauritania, which is in West Africa. I know, I didn't know where it was yet either, but you know where Morocco is, for
Yeah,
instance?
kind of.
Okay, so Morocco is two countries. If it's the elephant ear part if you think of Africa as like an
Yeah.
elephant face, it's on the side of the elephant ears where Mauritania is. It
Hmm.
is about 3 times the size of New Mexico, but it's only got 140 kilometers of usable land. The
Really?
rest is Sahara. So it
Wow.
was, I had a very, what we might call like a 1950s version of a Peace Corps experience.
Hmm.
I've talked to other people since they've been back, and they're like, oh, our DVD player broke for a week. Like, okay. I couldn't find water. So, whatever. But when I was in the infirmary, when I was on the out for Mauritania,
Hmm.
I was making everybody giggle in the infirmary, and all the Peace Corps volunteers were coming in and giggling, and like people were coming out of their way to come and like hang out with me, which was really great. But I didn't put it together. And then one of my buddies, he's currently in the State Department, he's doing really well for himself. He said, you're making everybody giggle, which is their escape from what they're going through. And
Hmm.
I would guess it's probably your escape too. Is that right? And I just went, what? It was like that seeing colors for the first time. Like we were like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Like people who put on those color glasses and they can
Right.
like they're colorblind, but then they can see. It was
Hmm.
that level of like, wait, what? And then he told me about Second City. He told me about improv comedy in Chicago. And when I got back, I had a couple weeks before I could reapply to the Peace Corps, and I packed a duffel bag and moved to Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, I stayed in a hostel for a few weeks. One of my friends from Peace Corps ended up having a house in Chicago that he was like, it's just sitting. Why don't you go stay there? I'm like, oh, okay, great. Because my journey post Peace Corps, all the Peace Corps volunteers were talking to each other about
Hmm.
what I was doing. And that I ended up in Chicago to do comedy, and that was 20 years ago. And it
Wow.
just all started and just kind of fell into place after that.
Hmm.
Oh wow, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. That's awesome. So
Huh.
that's been really fun. And I met my wife doing comedy, and I met she's a muggle, but
Yeah.
I met her doing comedy.
She's a muggle. What do you mean?
Well, you know the Harry Potter series,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so muggles are non-magic people.
Uh,
That's lofty. That makes me sound really important. But we joke that she is a muggle in the sense that like I mean, I would call her, if we're going with the Harry Potter thing, it's probably more like a squib, like born into a a magic family, but doesn't have any powers. So like she did comedy originally to she was just taking classes, and she was taking classes at the same theater that I was performing at and teaching at. I wasn't teaching her, but teaching.
But she was not interested in being funny.
She was interested in being able to speak better, which I think is like, not too dissimilar to what you're about to do with your improv.
Mm-hmm.
She took an improv class so that when she did corporate presentations, she was more effective and could speak to people at a higher level, which, I think people do Toastmasters for the same reason.
Mm-hmm.
In her case, she just happened. I mean, the Toastmasters in Chicago is fine, but and I say that not knowing anything about Toastmasters in Chicago. So if anyone's listening who's Toastmasters, please feel free to blast me in the comment section. But even if it's recorded, just hashtag recorded and then Pat's an idiot. That's fine. I'll take it. But we, she was taking classes, and then we met, and then now I have 2 children. That's abbreviated, but I'm not going to get into how that works.
Thanks for that.
I'm looking out. Yeah, that's a lot, man. That's a journey. I took you on a journey. You said stories.
That's crazy. But I mean that's good to hear, because I mean we all have journeys, and it's important. And it sounds like you've identified with this. It's important for us to identify how that journey is key to where we are. I mean, it's more about the journey than it is about where we are, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think my daughter is 7 years old, and she was saying to me the other day, like, why don't I know how to do this? I'm like, well, you don't like, until you have I don't believe in mistakes, and that's maybe part of the improv part of me too. I don't believe in things that we can ever. I don't believe in regrets. I don't believe in mistakes. Everything is an opportunity. So with improv, if somebody does something that's not on pattern, it's a gift. We use it as a gift to inspire something else. And I think that that's similar to me with mistakes, and similar to me, my beliefs in regards to things that go wrong. Everything's an opportunity for something else. I might not be able to know what it is quite yet, but I know that, I'm not going to be me without my amalgamation of experiences. So similar to what you're saying, like you have to be, you're either going to be a terrible person because of your background, or a really good person because of your background. Like there's really no, you don't just poof in. And I mean, like, you can't poof into existence. That's why we have that joke. What do you think I was born yesterday? My response is always, ouch. But that's not,
Ouch.
Yeah. Because for your mom, you think I was born yesterday, ouch. Yeah, that would be very traumatic for her, I would assume. Yeah.
I got it. I'm not always that quick.
Come on, man, you nailing it.
I love that. I love the aspect, though. We learn so much from the mistakes. I mean, that's really what this is all about. Is there are no real mistakes. We don't have situations that we need to be regretful for. We don't have that whole aspect of life. We just need to be thankful for life, and thankful that we can figure a different way out, and that different way out is sometimes the path we were supposed to take. And going through all that is learning. It's huge.
Yeah.
So
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good stuff. I mean, everybody take a breath. Yeah. It's going great. You got it. You're nailing it.
Yeah. You need to be comfortable with that. And this is a message more for myself, I think, than anybody else. I mean, people online, you can take this as well. But really, for me, I need to take a breath. Sometimes when I think I screwed up, I didn't screw up. Maybe sometimes when you think you screwed up, you didn't screw up. It's just a different way of getting to the end.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say maybe the end. That's probably not right either.
Well, I mean, that sounds a little morbid.
Yeah.
But I think, the journey's never going to stop.
Yeah.
The best we can do is just figure it out, as we
Yeah.
go, and like make the best of this and treat people well and make sure other people are. When we were in the Peace Corps, we talked a lot about the drop in the bucket and how your influence, your moment to moment, you're affecting somebody else who affects somebody else who affects something else. Every choice in your life, every thought in your life, every action in your life is going to affect somebody else. Like I often talk about EQ, emotional intelligence, with people about that person is angry. I know somebody over there who is angry, but why are they angry? Does it have diddly to do with me? Probably not. It has everything to do with the domino effect of their day. Like it could easily be they got their order screwed up at Starbucks in the morning, or they wrote Sally on the cup and their name was Janice. And it just hit them in the wrong way. And then those dominoes are going to fall in a way that makes them a terrible person that day. It doesn't make them a bad person for their life. They're having a moment, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Some people have bigger moments than others. I think the world is showing us that. But I'm not going to get into that, speaking of dating things. But nevertheless, I don't think I would like to believe people are inherently good and not inherently troubled.
Right.
And that's the way that I'm going to live. And I'm going to, hopefully convince other people that that's a good way to go too.
I think it's a great way to look at it. Great way to live. Great way to close this show, because we were only scheduled to go 30 minutes. We're already well over that.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Hey, I think they all received a treat today. So, they should pay you, whatever that is. I don't know.
Yeah, but Pat Dwyer was taken.com.
Well, thanks for joining us this morning, Pat.
Bud, thank you for having me. Like, you're just a delight. Like, oh, my goodness, what a treat you are.
I hope you can come back on.
Oh, I would love it. Yeah, man, anytime. You call me. I'll show up.
All right, cool.
You maybe not even invited. I'll just show up.
There you go. We can do that too. But I'm gonna let you go to the green room for a little bit.
Okay.
I want to make sure we come back. We get a chance to talk after I close out the show. And great. If you would, you have anything you want to leave people with? What would it be?
Oh, if I wanted to leave people with anything, it would just be, find something that makes you smile, and it doesn't have to be a smile for anybody else but you. Just once, just one moment, and just see if that ripples through your day. Just check it out. Even if they changed your order to Sally and your name is Janice, just like there's probably something else cool about that cup. There's probably something else cool about that drink. So, live in a world of optimism. It might actually beget optimism.
Awesome. Thanks, Pat.
Heck yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my goodness. What a day. What a great way to start off the day, having Pat Dwyer on the Vision Alignment Show. We've got more good stuff coming for you in the coming weeks. Again, and I don't have the names in front of me to tell you about, but you look for us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. We'll have these videos coming out hopefully weekly. We'll continue to do what we do, and hopefully we will continue to serve you in the best way possible. If there's ever anything that we all can do for you, please let us know. But as always, remember to keep one eye on the road. Take care. Bye. I forgot to hit the button. Bye.